Hello everyone, welcome back to the Looney Bin. My name is Looney, and today's video I want to talk about just in general what is going on with Hololive. Now, before we go into this, I just want to say that I don't necessarily have any inside information on what is going on inside the Hololive production. My information, everything I'm going to be talking about is just found throughout the internet. I have made sure to at least look at some reasonable information in regards to what is happening with Hololive instead of just some random dooms post from like 4chan or anything like that, right? And for the most part, I'm just gonna go over like just simply my own opinion of the situation that is happening. I'm not gonna speculate like why is this happening, why all of a sudden, or speculate some wild theories in regards to it, but try to at least give you information that is kind of at least give you some sort of explanation as to why some of the talents are leaving and so on and so forth. And once again, I don't have insider information at all. I am just a lonely YouTuber, and but I do look at things, I do look over things, I do hear, listen to even the talents, even through some of these wild theories on 4chan and stuff like that, and try to pick apart which ones are actually at least somewhat factual and not just some doomsayers post, right? So a lot of people are concerned about Hololive in general. After 5 years or 5+ years of not really getting into a lot of controversial things, and except for like a few things very early on, for the most part, for the last 3-4 years of Hololive, it has been pretty chill. No talents were ever made or have done anything to back talk about Hololive. Hololive has had really good, keeping everything under wraps. Management has been, pretty clean. As you hear a lot of these other VTuber companies either going bankrupt, closing down, or even having some controversial stuff happen over the last couple of years. Hololive has essentially stayed the mainstay. They have stayed pretty much in their own sphere, right? And not really get involved in a lot of the other things that have been happening in the VTuber, atmosphere, And a lot of the times, people tend to get shocked when like certain things start to happening, such as a lot of these Hololive members who have been with the company for years started to graduate, right? Over the last year or so, 2024, so many different talents from Hololive were either graduated, semi-graduated, or even terminated, such as Mel. And a lot of times people will always look into this as if something's bad is happening in Hololive. A lot of the time people are given, reasons as to why, they're leaving, but then all of a sudden in their brain they think that something even worse is happening behind the scenes. And part of that is because of how, tight Hololive is with a lot of the internal stuff and internal dialogue that happens within the company. A lot of times none of the previous talent has ever mentioned anything bad about Hololive, so a lot of times people are just like, wondering what kind of hold does Hololive have on them that they're not revealing anything, bad about the company. And for the most part, it's because nothing really bad has happened within the company. They are not, in a situation where like they will prevent people from leaving. They are more than happy if, both parties agree to allow them to graduate, allow them to move on. And, that's it. It's not a situation where like in another company where they kind of hold on to a person despite the fact that they have constantly been just the best word would be that's not really too big. I would just be like just mismanagement or anything like that, right? We've seen what happened over the last 2 years with a certain other company, right? And a lot of times, Hololive has not gotten into that position at all. They had a few controversies, like I mentioned before, and for the most part, they've been really chill. They have, respected their talents. They have allowed their talents to do a lot of things, giving them breaks, giving them all the opportunities that they have. And, for the most part, a lot of people just, don't think that Hololive is going to end up like any other companies. However, there are some who are doom posters, people who want to see a company falter because if it's one of those things where like if a company is doing well or just something is doing well, they want to see the downfall because the downfall is dramatic, it's drama. They want that. They want to see someone high on top fall down in some spectacular car crash, right? Just completely they want to see, something fall down from the clip that they're from. And it comes from, the want for drama, the want for like trying very hard to see, a thriving company just fall. And that's where a lot of doom posts come from. That's where a lot of doomsayers, say things and certain stuff like that about Hololive or like any sort of company that they want them to see fall. And for the most part, you necessarily don't have to listen to them, right? Could they be right? Could they be wrong? I'm not in the mindset or in the position to agree or disagree, but I would rather believe comments from the company itself and from the talents themselves rather than someone on 4chan or someone on Reddit. Now that doesn't mean that something could come up later on that validates what the Redditor or the 4chan poster said, because it certainly can. Sometimes it just happens. That doesn't mean that you were wrong or you're shilling to a company. It just means that you didn't want to believe in it, right? But when it does come out, you understand that, oh my God, they were right. I can't believe Hololive would do this, or something like that. And this has been going on for years with Hololive, doing posters and stuff like that because of these graduations. And in the past year, 2024, so many graduations happened. I believe there's 5 in total. Well, 4 graduations, some of them semi, and then 1 termination, which was Mel. And, recently, both Fauna and Chloe decided to Fauna decided to graduate, Chloe decided to semi-graduate, and a lot of people started questioning this. A lot of people started worrying about this. And one particular thing that happened is with what Fauna said, which was, disagreement with management. And all of a sudden, a lot of people are thinking, oh my God, management is fucking up. I can't believe they let Fauna go. Oh my God, what is management doing? Oh my God, Hololive is now becoming a black company, which, for those who don't know what a black company is, just a company that does really shady stuff behind the scenes. And it just got so many of these doom posters just starting to worry, starting to panic, starting to find reasons as to why, management all of a sudden is having a hard time keeping some of this talent. For me personally, my own opinion about the whole situation, I think Fauna just wanted to do something else, wanted to do something that management just was not allowing her to do because of some sort of logistic thing, and she decided, what, I think it's time for us to move on because I want to do certain stuff that I'm not allowed to do here in Hololive and just move on. That to me is probably the more simplistic answer and idea to why Fauna said that there's disagreement with management, because Hololive is a company that has to abide on certain permission, certain, logistic things, such as they need permission in order for any of the girls to stream any game. And the reason for that, and why, it's not similar to, like, let's say a random YouTuber doing this, is because as a company, they're making a profit off it. They're making a profit of another company's, product, right? As a company, they have to abide to some sort of agreement with, the video game company so that they don't get sued. Because in Japan, copyright laws are very strict over there, right? So they have to abide to these. That's why for like a limited time they were not allowed to play Capcom games, because Capcom essentially threatened to sue and essentially was not giving Hololive permission to stream their games until they came to an agreement later on with like a contract that allowed them to get some money from Hololive so that the girls could start playing like Resident Evil, Street Fighter, and stuff like that. And that's where the logistics stuff comes from. It's not that they're prevented from playing these games. They just have to get permission first, and sometimes companies do not give permission. One of the greatest examples is that Atlas sometimes does not give permissions, not only just to Hololive, but to many other streamers, because Atlas has this idea that if a streamer plays a game, they're going to spoil the audience what the story of the game is, and essentially that audience will not bother to actually buy the game to play if they could just watch a streamer play. When the reality is, streamers tend to be like one of the best, advertisement for your game, because if you see your favorite streamer play a game, you might have, you might want to go buy the game if you can afford it, if you want it, if you really love them, playing the game, you will want to get it, right? But with Hololive as a company, as an actual company, that's not the case, and they have to actually get permission. Now, again, I don't know what the management disagreement was with Fauna I don't know. All I can do is just give you an opinion of like what it could be, but at the end of the day, I do not know. I don't have insider information, right? And despite this, so many people are trying to paint it as if whole life management is messing up, that they're ruining everything, that they're not coordinating with the talent at all, similar to like what happened in a previous company where like management, but the management over there was a little bit more complicated and a little bit more different, is just really messing up. Like they're trying to get rid of some of the talents, right? Like there's some sort of like evil scheme to really make it rough for some of the talent, when that is not essentially the case, right? Another popular idea or theory that people have been putting out is that Hololive is moving towards something else. As what I mean by that is that the company itself 4 years ago is vastly different than the company is today. For example, a lot of times you see a lot more of the talent really start doing more concerts or a lot more live events, be more idols, right? And a lot of people seem to think that they're moving away from streaming, moving away from gaming, and a lot of the talent are not idols. They're not like pop stars. They're not like, these entertainers, essentially. They're just gamers. They just want to stream. A lot of people point that to why Aqua left, because she didn't want to become an idol. She didn't want to do all this entertainment stuff. She just wanted to stream games, relax, and chill, right? There might be some validity to that statement because Aqua is very introverted, so there's a possibility. But again, we don't know what the disagreement or why Aqua asked to graduate, right? And now she's doing well as an indie VTuber. So who knows if that is a possible reason why Fauna left, but Fauna did mention that she didn't mind being an idol. She was happy, she lived her dream, of being in Hololive streaming. She was perfectly fine with being an idol. So I don't think that's a big reason why Fauna left. And it could be a reason where some of the other girls left, sure, but none of us know this, right? We don't know what the actual reason is behind some of them leaving. So all people can do is speculate, right? And most of the time, whenever people speculate, they always think of the worst possible situation, right? So it's like, you have to understand that a lot of the time, if there was an issue within Hololive, within management, they would not be allowing some of these girls, some of these talents to graduate. They would not, right? And let's not also forget that there is a male group in Hololive called Holo Stars that also have had issues over the years. A lot of times it comes from like some sort of disagreement with management or some sort of like disagreement with the way, they are trying to incorporate their content, and it just doesn't work well with Hololive's, view of like what is appropriate content for them to show for their company. And again, a lot of times you have to follow like the rules of the company because they are, in the public eye. So if you do something awful, it's going to affect the company itself. Just think of another company that recently just had some sort of issues. When you do something, right, it reflects highly on the company and makes the company look bad, right? So that's why it's very important to understand that if there was an issue with management, right, and management was being very, like aggressive, annoying, or anything like that, they would not be allowing these girls to graduate, semi-graduate at all, right? They will keep them on the contract until the contract expires and then let them go and probably not, pay them, whatever they owe with like merchandise or anything, right? That's the definition of a black company. But Hololive is not doing that. So the whole black company idea just doesn't fit well with the narrative that's being presented. And, and other talents have had and made comments about the situation. Miko, Sakura Miko has made comments over the situation about what is happening with Hololive and Cover Corp in general. And she just basically states that that's way too broad about Cover. I don't know things that are too big or too deep to be fair, but there's been a lot that's changed. There's also been a lot that's have had to change, which is the direction of the company. I'm Gen Zero, so I've been watching since the very beginning of the company. Of the staff now, I only know personally the ones involved with the studio music production. It's only people in certain particular departments I've met and talked to. I think that's one thing that's changed a lot. While the proportion of the people in the staff we talk to in person has gone down, but even so, via various projects, you do interact with quite a number of staff management. Like if you do solo live, you'll be interacting with also the department, And she goes on, continues talking about it, and then she eventually talks about what, the fans' fear and stuff like that, right? She talks about like there has been changes from the very beginning of the company to what it is now, and it's been, well known that there has been a lot of change happening if you've just been viewing Hololive in general. One of the big reasons is, of course, that Hololive has become public, and a lot of people are saying that was the worst thing Hololive could do is go public, because now CEOs, who are essentially kind of like the bosses of, whoever is the CEO of Hololive, have to think about profit margin, because that's what all they care about, right? CEOs, no matter who they are, the one thing they always want is money, regardless if it's money for themselves or money for everyone else, the other members of the board. Their first thing and first priority is always money. It's never really about satisfaction. So the changes within a company could be from, when Hololive started to become public, right? But we don't know that. Again, it is just assuming. None of us really know if like that's what's happening, and that's why there's a big change, and where like a lot of the girls are thinking, oh, I didn't think this was going to change like this. I thought I was just going to be streaming and gaming. I didn't think that we're going to start doing this idol stuff, this concert stuff and stuff like that. A lot of them feel like there's too much pressure in regards to it, right? But again, I don't think that's the case, because this is what Miko says. Actually, guys, we're not as weak and fragile as you might think. There's one thing I want to say. The Hololive members might be idols in front of you all, but behind the scenes, off stream, we're each like individual sole proprietors who will fight it out with the management and say what we think. And there are lots of us who are all very serious about the things we want to do. Everyone here is amazing, so we won't just go along with what management tells us to do. Essentially saying, management can offer ideas, but the talent do want to make content, and then they talk with management and discuss how they can incorporate that, content, as during streams or whatever. So there's not, according to Miko here, there's not really much beef between talent and management, that there's a lot of cooperation between them. You mean you're strong-willed? They're only strong-willed women here. Even if you might think a talent's just so fluffy, she'd be doing her stuff properly. Yes, even the kind ones, there are only kind of girls here. But if there are lots of them who do it properly. They're all strong-willed. Watama has got it all together. How many times has Watama done a live concert? She's already done a second solo live. She too has it all together. She's the type that aims for what she wants. She's amazing. But from the point of view, you guys maybe feel like we exist as you want to protect. But, well, sure, I do like to be protected since I'm an idol. But all of us have our own wills and are working hard for our own goals and our activities. The ones who are leaving, too, are the same, too. While I am an idol, so I do like to be treated fondly so well that you're worrying about me. I don't dislike that, honestly. Because that's an expression of your love. For you to be worried and get angry on our behalf, that's because you love us. I don't blame you if you just post something like, sorry management if this comes out stronger, but I think I don't love. It does make me happy that with my activities, I managed to get you to think strongly of me. Right? And she does explain a little bit more. And that's true for a fan thing. That's the most important thing, right? You want to watch us for a long time, right? To live a long time as a company VTuber. How do I say this if it looks easy, but it's not? As the company gets bigger, some changes are necessary. You all would want to see new things too. Plus, the viewers also want to see us evolve and grow, right? But at the same time, you want us all to be doing well. Doing both of this well is actually quite difficult. That's what I think. I think we have to grow. I mean, too, I want to show you all how I've grown. If I'm doing a new live, I want to do it at a bigger venue, even the small things. I want to keep updating them. But that, I feel I need to do my best. Essentially, short story is, the girls are handling a lot of the stuff that they want to do, really well. They're discussing with management. If management has an idea, they'll think about it. But they have essentially a really strong voice in a lot of decisions that they essentially do in terms of the content. So it's not like management is like really threatening them or anything like that. There really are just a good agreement between both parties. So this idea that management is really aiming at the girls or like making it tough for the girls to do anything, I don't think that is true whatsoever. And at the end of the day, we don't know why Fauna left. We don't know why some of the other talents left. It could be because they want to move on, and that's part of life. You don't necessarily stay with a company for forever. Sometimes you move on for better opportunities. Fauna probably felt that her time in Hololive was done, and she wanted to move on. That's probably the case. Probably the case with Ame as well. Probably the same case with Chloe as well. There's also the whole thing about, Chloe, dealing with a voice issue. We have Iroha also dealing with a voice issue. But Hololive has given them time to take breaks. So it's not like they're forbidding them from taking breaks to heal up. It's that the talent themselves want to continue streaming, right? And no matter how much management tries to persuade them, they probably still want to do it anyway. Again, everything I'm hearing from here, even from Kiara, all everything, all these doomsayers talking about how like management is really being very tough and like really mean, to the point where Hololive is now becoming a black company. It just doesn't correlate with what the talent is saying. Now you could say, oh, but the talent can't say, the bad things that are happening because they're contracted with Hololive. True, that's a possibility. But where's your proof of that? The only thing you can do is speculate on that idea. When if the girls are telling us we're fine, they're just moving on, and that's it. That's all we can do. That's all we can say at the end of the day. You could continue having these conspiracy theories, these conspiracy ideas about Hololive and like what's happening with the talent, but unless you have proof of it, you can't claim it as so. That's just how it works. Like I said, I can only make assumptions and opinions based on my own interpretation of what is happening with Hololive based on everything that is said. You could call me a bootlicker for all I care. That's like a very popular word to just describe someone who's just taking the word of the talent rather than, it's just some wild conspiracy theory on 4chan or Reddit. Again, I think everyone needs to just calm down. I understand it's very tough losing some of the talent, and leaving Hololive. I get it. It's very tough. I will be incredibly saddened if Corona decides to leave Hololive. But I do know that she has the opportunity to start a new, a new VTuber model, a new indie debut, similar to how Alma is now Doobie, right? I think a lot of people who want these talents to stay in Hololive need to understand that Hololive is essentially a place where a lot of these talents can grow and, get seen by many more people. And then when they decide to finally leave, they move on. Everyone is growing up. Everyone is getting older. They want to do more things. They want new opportunities, new fresh ideas, new fresh opportunities. Become a new indie VTuber. At the end of the day, the only thing we can do is just continue to support this talent, support these girls. And until something comes out, a leak or whatever, about some shady stuff that Hololive has been doing, we cannot confirm, we cannot claim that Hololive is becoming a black company or anything like that. Because there's just no proof of it. Everything we have seen so far, with allowing the girls to take breaks, allowing the girls to do whatever, kind of content they want as long as they get permission, all this stuff just seems like it's, that's just how it is. Sometimes they do not get permission, and maybe that's where some of the, concerns comes from the town, where like they're not allowed to do certain things, and they just decide, what, I really want to do these things, but Hololive is not letting me do it because of all of these logistic issues, right? I know a lot of people are also going to point out the whole thing with Ina and her visa issues, but we don't know the full story exactly how that or what happened. Yes, management could have really done something really, or, they were lackadaisical about Ina's visa issue. That's very well possible. Who knows? Again, it's all speculation, right? All we can do is just support these talents. And until something comes out from Hololive, that you can't do anything, right? You may say that, oh, I was right all along, but again, you only assumed. You only theorized, you only speculated. That's not you being some sort of master, detective trying to figure out, like, the missing piece of the puzzle why all these towns are having all these issues. It just, you came up to a very deductive conclusion based on what you interpreted from everything. That's just how it works. So, yeah, I don't think there's a really big issue with Hololive at the moment, right? I don't think there is anything. A lot of the girls seem to be still happy with Hololive. A lot of the girls seem to, in some form or way, are able to, communicate with management, are able to do a lot of things that they want to, and who knows what the direction the company is going to take. Some of the girls may want to, change of scenery. They don't want to continue going on the path like the company, is changing. Who knows? But I don't think there's like a big, much darker conspiracy theory going on in Hololive. And I think if anyone tries to say that, it's just a conspiracy theory at this point. So thank you so much for watching my video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down below in regards to this. Maybe give me your own opinion about what is happening. Again, we can't verify anything because I don't have any inside information in regards to this. But at the same time, I don't think we should believe every conspiracy theory on the internet, because again, a lot of people want to see companies like this fall down, because they just want that drama. So, but yeah, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.